After all, why would they use the same characters that have existed in other things if they weren't going to at least have a few things in common? What's the point in using a character's name and design and not having them share anything else with the character?
Ever heard of alternate universes, friends? You need to read Marvel's What If comics, which explore the possibilities of one of their characters doing something different and changing the story to be unlike the original character, or stories or episodes where the character is in another world or theme. Hey, this is relating to a comic book based show, so why not use real comic book logic and arguments to back up my points?
But there's no signs of Teen Titans Go taking place in an alternate universe. Even if it did, the characters need to be in character in some way.
So yeah, I'm sure Teen Titans Go attracted a lot of people who don't normally watch these kinds of cartoons, and were only interested because maybe they've read a comic book or played a video game or seen another show with these characters in them, and decided to take to the internet to talk about how this isn't what they wanted or expected from these characters. You see this with a lot of different things, from The Simpsons to SpongeBob. People will watch other episodes of things even if they don't like them, just because they're attached to things that they do like. They might watch it out of obligation even if they don't like each and every episode.
So if we feel attached to something, you have to feel obligated to watch every episode of spin-off for that thing. Well, better watch Extreme Ghostbusters and play Majora's Mask, because even though I don't like those things, I must see her play them. And I have to because I like these things. Seriously, no one has to do this. I don't think anyone thinks this way. I mean, sure, you might do this if you're like a reviewer of a game, movie, book, music, or movie. But most people aren't reviewers, Pie Guy, so not everyone's gonna think like that.
Okay, there's a difference between feeling obligated and being obligated. Example. If you like Family Guy and cannot stand the Cleveland show, nobody's forcing you to watch the Cleveland show. But you may feel forced anyway. And that's a key phrase there. May. Not everyone who hates Teen Titans Go could be obsessed with ranting on it. One example? The Gaming Cat.
This question comes from Kath Farr. What do you think of Teen Titans Go? From what I know, I'm very glad that I've never seen it. Even though I've never been a fan of the original show, every time I see clips of Go, I just feel so sorry for those who are. It feels like I'm watching a child's favorite toy car being run over by someone's truck and then thrown into the river.
Therefore, they'll continue to talk about it online. It's kind of the whole we boo because we want to cheer. People will keep watching because once upon a time the show was something that they liked and wanted, and are still hoping desperately that the show is going to somehow change to fit their demands.
That rarely ever happens. TV shows run by executives, they run Nielsen tests to see what people want, might take fan suggestions. Why does everyone live in this fantasy world where they think, if I bitch over this, they'll listen to me? That's not how it works.
Again, Teen Titans Go already made 2 episodes that clearly stated that the show is listening to their critics.
So yeah, Teen Titans Go is still being talked about because it's not just one series, but a part of a bigger franchise. And a part that I might add is quite a bit different from a lot of other parts of the franchise. Number 2, it's a successful show. Ratings-wise, from sources that I've seen, the show is doing a little bit better than Steven Universe.
It's more popular than my precious Steven Universe. I must complain about it being popular like the cooler kids do. That must stand for having more successful shows.
A lot easier to take pot shots at something that's successful.
It's also a very lazy way of saying why you hate something. Instead of going into detail or just having a reasonable way to hate it, you're just saying, just because it's popular. Makes you look like a freaking hipster. And at this point has been said so much to death. And if I had $1 every time someone said this, I'd probably have my own arcade right now.
And again, it's not Pie Guy Rules ranting on the show. It's Pie Guy Rules explaining why people rant on the show.
Things not very successful, well then everybody kinda knows it's bad and doesn't really talk about it.
Not everything unsuccessful is bad, I mean, look at Class 3000. That didn't do so well. Hell, anyone barely remembers that show, but it's still a good show. And this counts for video games as well. The Dreamcast wasn't successful, but people say it's a great console. Heck, wasn't even the greatest consoles, and warn it's lost. This is getting too easy right now to debunk your points.
But in my case, it took me 6 minutes to find a good one of yours. No, seriously, this is the first decent point, and it took me 6 minutes to find it.
If it's successful, you don't really feel guilty about it because the people behind the show have a lot going for them. And what this also kind of proves is that people who are making fun of and talking down on the show are the minority. They're the underdogs. They're the ones who have something to prove. Although there's a lot of people online complaining about Teen Titans Go, I'm not quite sure it reaches 2 million.
That number is probably 8 million and still rising.
Blanket statement, blanket statement, blanket statement, blanket statement, blanket statement, blanket statement, blanket statement.
People want to have a cause, they want to have something to fight for, and fighting against something that is super popular is definitely a lot more fun and challenging and interesting than fighting against something that really isn't popular at all, and you're the overwhelming majority.
Yeah, fighting against something popular makes it look like a crowd follower. Most random things against the popular things are the same old rehash points we hear all the time from a subject. It's more challenging to fight against unpopular things because then you might have a new view on a thing that hasn't been seen before that most people don't have.
People, you wanna know why Mr. Enter keeps talking about Teen Titans Go? Because each episode tells in a whole different way. Therefore, each review can give something new to talk about.
Lightly, but I can do that. It might be the reason I'm tired of trying. Can't I be a rest? Would I be the best?
Even if you watch Cartoon Network online, the commercials they give are for Teen Titans Go. So it's going to be fresh in people's minds and makes people want to keep going online and talking about it. Especially because of one particular way that Cartoon Network likes to advertise it. They gave the show the tagline, "Your New Favorite Show." And they use that tagline very, very often. So naturally, this upsets people who don't like the show.
If you're getting mad over something like that, please reevaluate yourself, because it's not like Dad saying, this is your new favorite show, you can't like any other show, you have to like Teen Titans Go. Taking a joke a little too seriously, don't you think?
Okay, even then, it's clearly understandable why people are upset by this. But if you say what I think you said, it's not his opinion on the show. Wait a minute. I told you, I needed to point this out at least 3 times.
Lightly, but I can do that. It might be the reason I'm tired of trying. Can't I be a rest? Would I be the best?
And similarly, at number 4, Cartoon Network airs the show a lot. Teen Titans Go gets the SpongeBob treatment with constant reruns and marathons.
They did this with Adventure Time and regular show, but those shows get a free pass because they're good. And knowing your feelings towards Teen Titans Go, I can see why you could play about Teen Titans Go doing this. And CN's other shows are guilty as well. Whatever network has it, of course they're gonna air a lot of it. Stupid Ed.
Teen Titans Go airs like 20 times a day. Adventure Time and Radio Show air half the runs. At most.
I don't really have much else to add, as this is very similar to the whole commercial thing, but yeah, if the show's going to continue airing and continue being on TV and just continuing to remind people of its existence, of course people are going to keep talking about it. It can get really annoying when one show is dominating the schedule.
Do I even need to restate my last point here? Because I would be repeating myself more than King Master Review ever did.
Daredevil Zombie, can you please deliver coffee from the moon? I think I'm gonna need it.
And lastly, number 5, perhaps my most important point is that the show has actively responded to its criticism. The show has made 2 episodes, Let's Get Serious and The Return of Slade.
I fucking knew it!
The creators have explicitly stated that both of these episodes are in fact reactions to the criticisms that they've gotten.
Actually, CN airs our shows frequently too. And we have this thing called DVR. You record the shows you like and only watch those episodes of the show. Man, I bet his mind will be blown when he finds about DVD.
What the fuck does this have to do with anything?
And it's only natural when someone responds to what you've been saying that you're going to want to talk even more about the subject and give a response to their response.
Okay, like I said, Let's Get Serious was pairing with serious superhero movies, and Return of Slade was an epic troll attempt y'all fell for. I'm starting to wonder if we're talking about the same show here.
1, yes we are, and 2, they did that while they're calling on their critics.
It's not really much of a surprise that most of the people who don't like Teen Titans Go weren't very impressed with these 2 episodes and the way the creators decided to respond. It's pretty much as simple as that. And you have to also remember that animation takes a long time. So when the creators made these episodes, the discussion about the show and the criticisms were very loud and very vocal on the internet.
Excuse me, mind giving out examples of how other shows have called out their critics?
Girls Gone Mild from Powerpuff Girls, if it counts.
I think that since then they died down a little bit, and then of course they flared up months later when these episodes happened to air. It's one of the things you have to be careful of when making an animated show, as they take months and months to be made and then to be aired. That is why people are still talking about Teen Titans Go. And if you don't believe me on any of these things, I have one last piece of evidence that should hopefully convince you. Yeah, right, some petitions and death threats to people who worked on the show, so of course they might try and call out the people on their BS.
It's getting really out of hand here.
You remember a little show called Breadwinners?
Finally, we have an example in this video.
You remember how everyone was calling it the worst cartoon ever and everyone just couldn't stop talking about how bad it was? How many people talk about Breadwinners now?
God dang it, now all hope is lost. Pray for us, people. We're almost done with this thing.
I don't think it's that many. Sure, some people are, but you see much less conversation about how bad Breadwinners is in comparison to how bad Teen Titans Go is. It's not that people have changed their minds on Breadwinners or that Breadwinners has become a better show.
Although it did, but this is supposed to be a commentary on Hipocaprio.
It's just that that show didn't get popular.
Make sure viewers like you take it more personally, like a serious business rather than just an interest or a hobby.
People would still think the same of the show, they would still hold the same opinion, but I guarantee you people would care less, people would talk less, people would say it's bad and then move on. But people are attached because of all of these factors, and that's why Teen Titans Go is still being talked about. Now, personally, I don't want to talk about Teen Titans Go anymore.
Yeah, but it did become popular due to word of mouth. But do you know that? Breadwinners actually has a fan base like Teen Titans Go, so really word of mouth, that kind of doesn't change a thing having its fans. Sure, it might seem weird or foreign to you guys having this show have fans, but everything has its fans. Why doesn't anyone get this?
When did he say Teen Titans Go and Breadwinners don't have fan bases? Is it on a deleted scene on a DVD I never found?
I don't want to watch any more of this show. I don't want to think about the show.
Well, what have you been yammering on about your class of 3000? Well, I must have read the title of the video wrong or something, because you're talking about Teen Titans Go right now. Do you even listen to yourself? That'd be like me saying, I'm not going to talk about Steven Universe anymore, but here's why I hate it. Ugh, this is so stupid, I swear to God.
Said the woman who contradicted herself 4 minutes ago. Let's just skip to the end.
It lightly, but I can do that. It might be the reason I'm tired of trying. Can't that be a rest? Would I be the best?
If I could say one thing, at least Pie Guy Rules doesn't come out as harsh as Mr. Enter, doesn't come out as much as a pretentious or an egotist. But we still really need to stop talking about Teen Titans Go.
Thanks for saying it's not as harsh as Mr. Enter review. That said, your video is utter shit! You had 20 arguments in this commentary. Only 3 of them, maybe 4, were decent. Half of the arguments were talking randomly and nonsensically, and the rest destroyed all of the rights you had from calling me a Mr. Enter fanboy. Since you act like a complete Teen Titans Go fangirl and want complete butthurt at random things. I already said this, but these are not his thoughts on the series. He's explaining why the series gets so much hate. Anyway, we end CommentJack. This is the Oleva, and I'll see you in my 10th commentary.